Currently, many people are upset with Valve over their greed and their refusal to fix their game. So is CS2 a game, or is it closer to a digital casino? I'm not so sure. So let's take a look at the numbers. Each month, on average, Counter-Strike 2 brings Valve $80 to $100 million a month, and they take their cut from every single stage of the breathing process within their ecosystem. First, you buy a case from the community market. Valve immediately takes their 15% transaction fee. Then you pay Valve $2.50 for a key, and the absolute best part is if, and that's a big if, you actually manage to get a knife or something worth more than the amount you paid to open the case. You put it up on the community market, and then Valve jumps in right away like a tax collector in feudal Europe to take another 15% off the secondary sale. They impose a tax when the item enters the market, they charge you an entry fee to unlock it, and then they tax you again when you sell it. I don't know if any of you actually listened in history class, but in 1773, a small group of American colonists genuinely began a bloody revolution and fought war against the most terrifying military superpower in the world just because of a 3% tax on tea. And now we're sitting around like pawns while Gabe Newell imposes a tax rate in the double digits on every single transaction, all as we play a game in which the whole of the top 100 on Valve's competitive leaderboard is made up of Beyblade motherfuckers, blatant wall hackers, and boosted accounts. We know this, and Valve knows it. But we continue opening the cases, buying the stickers, and buying skins that have negative ROI 99% of the time. All so Gaben might be able to buy a secondary super yacht to park next to his first one. There's also a known fact that if your account ends up in red trust, you can actually buy your way out of it with around $400 of market purchases. You're basically paying Valve a $400 monthly protection fee just to get access to a playable game. And if your first reaction is, well, there's still a lot of active players, I'll stop you right there. Of the 25 to 30 million recurring monthly players, around 15 to 20% are automated, weekly case farming bots. And Valve doesn't lose anything from these bots. They can give out infinite NFT cases and it doesn't cost them anything. But they do stand to gain in the 15% tax when those cases are sold to real people. So why on earth would Valve destroy its own money printer? Well, you'd hope they would because it's the real human players who end up having to cope with completely wrecked server populations and artificially inflated market prices. Look, nobody's naive here. It's obvious that a game developer's main aim is to make a profit, and that's okay. However, if you're going to squeeze every last penny from your community, then you should at least make a product which is actually usable by the people who are playing it. I won't waste your time moaning about the sub-tick server architecture, the bad hitboxes, or any other things people blame for their poor performance. Truth nuke. But the old counter-strafe meta where precise timing, good positioning, and trigger control where what one fights is completely gone. The new meta is full sprint at the enemy and spray, because that's just what works. Also, if I spend $1,000 on Kevlar and a helmet, getting hit in the pinky toe by a stray bullet from a MAC-10 shouldn't send my crosshair to the upper atmosphere. And if you think, realistically, getting shot while wearing armor would affect your aim, my answer is, when has Counter-Strike ever been realistic? We don't even aim down the sights of our own guns. Counter-Strike has always been based on mechanical precision, not some pseudo-realistic, no-skill garbage. Valve, if you're somehow managing to look away from all that money you've piled up long enough to hear this, the player base does not care about new skins. They don't give a damn about the pro player stickers either, which you ruined by making each sticker cost more than an average mortgage. As for realism, we also don't care. What we want is a pure, mechanical, skill-based tactical shooter in which the player with the better mechanics wins the gunfight 100% of the time. But let's be completely honest, Valve isn't paying attention. If they really cared about the game's integrity, they would have given us kernel-level anti-cheat 5 years ago. They would have implemented strict movement penalties that actually penalize running and gunning. They would have brought Overwatch back so the community could manually ban cheaters. And I know there's a new VacNet/Overwatch feature being rolled out, but my response is, why did it take 3 entire years? They would have restored our custom clan tags, and they wouldn't Vac-Live legit players when they play well, while actual rage hackers are able to play with a 100% win rate for 6 months without ever receiving a ban. So is Counter-Strike 2 a game? Maybe one day. Okay, that's enough complaining, because are we really ever going to stop playing this game? The answer is probably not. But in the meantime, while Valve is working on things that should have been fixed 3 years ago, I encourage you not to buy skins, but instead spend that money on a different game. Like, dude, go play Minecraft or something. And if you are going to buy skins, which I know you still are, buy them from an external site where Valve isn't directly benefiting from them. Because if we keep giving Gaben our paychecks, Valve is never going to fix the game we know and love. Anyways, that's it. See ya.